Today, we're going to take a look at some vintage clothes. First piece. This is a pilot jacket. This right here, I believe, indicates the date on a lot of military clothes. So this piece right here is from the Vietnam War era. And as you can see, it's not in the best of condition, but it's still a really cool piece. It's a bomber jacket. And some of the real old ones, underneath the collar back here, will be marked USN. This one doesn't have that marking, but it's definitely an original piece. This is wool here, and this is made of wool, and that's why it's got some moth holes in it and stuff, but that's a pretty cool piece. US Navy Vietnam War bomber jacket. Pretty cool. Next, might just look like just a typical pea coat, but this is an old piece. It's hard to appreciate it through video, but the wool on this is way thicker and heavier. It's just a better material than you would ever find in any type of pea coat that's made today. This is an actual, let's see if it's got a, it doesn't have a military mark. It does have some old stenciling on it. It's probably from World War II or Korean War, and I'll show you. The main way you can tell that these are old, that are old ones, is the pockets are corduroy lined. I mean, if you find one of these, you're gonna know right away just because of how well it's made. But the older ones have corduroy lining inside the pockets. So, pretty cool. Next up, it's been a while since I've looked at this. A B-15 bomber jacket. This is an original piece. I believe this is from the Korean War. I don't see the date on it, but it's got the original stencil marking on it. The white name tag is pretty common from, you see it on a lot of uniforms from the Korean War era. And then again, since it's military, it's all really well made stuff. It's lined. It's also got the U.S. Air Force stenciling inside. Pretty cool piece. And I'll flip it over so we can see the back of it. There's the. Next up, we got a 1950s pleated denim Sears and Roebuck's jacket. It's got some cool arched pockets to it. It's got these chain typed zippers on it. It's got a nice patina and wear to it. It's got selvage denim on the inside. So for people that aren't familiar with selvage denim, back in the probably up into the 1960s, maybe at the latest, denim was made like that, so it wouldn't fray on the ends, and that's one way that people use to identify old denim clothing, is by that. It's just a white strip that looks like that, and that's how you know that a piece is old or not. And the other side of it, pretty cool piece. Next up, probably 50s. This is a Bluebell Wrangler, and it's sanforized. That's another way to tell if stuff is old. It'll say sanforized on it. This piece, like the other piece, has selvaged denim on the insides of it as well. This is a one pocket Wrangler Bluebell piece, and one great thing about this is the condition. This thing is in almost mint condition, and you got to think it's from like the 40s and 50s. But that sanforized, that means that stuff is made to where it won't shrink, is what that stands for. And a lot of old clothing will have that insignia on it. But this is a great piece. It's in excellent condition too. This is, it's hard to see because it's a big shirt. This is one of the most valuable pieces that I own, and probably one of the coolest. It's an old work shirt, and it's probably from the 1920s or 1930s, and it is brand new. Has the original tag on it. It's got metal buttons, or steel. And let's look at the tag. Very cool piece, and it has a chin strap, which is pretty much what a lot of the old work shirts from like the 1930s back will have. But the fact that this thing is in mint condition and it's brand new makes it pretty valuable. But very cool piece, one of the best pieces in my collection, and that's what it looks like. Paul, another cool piece. It's got a nice sun fade to it. The material feels almost like a rayon. Let's see if it says. Nope, it doesn't. Actually, Los Angeles, California. This is an old racing jacket, like a motocross or enduro type racing jacket. Probably from the 60s or 70s maybe. It's got some great fading on it. This, if you can see the texture on that, that's called chain stitching. California Enduro Association. It's a neat piece, and I actually had two of these, and the other one that I had sold, so I decided to hang on to this one. But that's what it looks like. This is another one of the most valuable pieces that I have in my collection. This is a 1950s or 60s Harley jacket. And what's cool about this one is it's got the belt with it, which a lot of times that's missing. And it also has this Muton collar with it, which is, you can take this off. It snaps out of there, and you never see these. And even if you look online on eBay, none of the old jackets have this. So this is almost always missing. Even just this piece alone is probably worth a couple $100. But so it's pretty rare that this piece has both of those. And it's a, let's see. Doesn't say it, but it's probably a horsehide. And look at this cool hanger. That is an old hanger. But that's what it looks like. This is an old wool cardigan. And I just want to say this. Even though it's got some spots on it, I mean, this stuff this actually, these spots and stuff does not affect the value like a lot of people would think. If anything, this stuff just signifies that this stuff is old and kind of gives it a personality. But I feel like a lot of people, they have old clothing and stuff and they think it's not worth anything if it's got little spots and stuff on it. But in my opinion, on this piece, that stuff like that has absolutely no effect on the value. Even if this thing had like a hole in it, it still would be worth about the same price. This is from Culver Military Academy, and it's got some really cool patches on it and stuff. It's got the old Made in USA Wilson, and then the coolest patch on the back, Culver Military Academy. That's another really cool piece. Well, I hope you guys like this video. Like and subscribe, and take a look at some of my other videos and let me know what else you would like to see.